Have you ever searched online for types of duck hunting blinds? There's a blue million of them. How would you know which one's best for you to use? Most duck hunters only hunt out of one or two different types of duck hunting blinds for their entire hunting career. Lucky for you, I've hunted out of all kinds of duck blinds, lots and lots of them. What kind of duck blind do you hunt out of? Let me know down in the comments. Now today's video is a guide to duck hunting blinds, and I'll be sharing with you all the different duck hunting blinds there are and my top choices, the kinds that I use where we hunt. You'll definitely be surprised at what you see today. I'm Joel Strickland, and this is Surviving Duck Season.
I spent one summer in Arkansas. I met so many nice and interesting people. Hello, my name is Forrest Gump. What's your name?
Hadley.
Hadley. That's a very lovely name. What you got there?
Gummies, you want one? Gotta go, Mr. Forrest. Bye.
Hi.
Want one?
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
My mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of like waterfowl hunting. You know, every day's different, full of lots of surprises.
Waterfowl hunting?
Yeah, you know, ducks and geese. Hey, I'm Joel. I live just down the road.
Joel was a real nice man. He was a professional duck hunting guide. Did you know that you could hire someone to take you duck hunting?
I've been duck hunting my whole life.
Joel runs one of the best duck hunting lodges in the world. He knows just about everything there is to know about duck hunting. You must know everything there is to know about duck hunting.
Well, I don't know everything, but I do know an awful lot about duck hunting. You ever been in a duck blind before?
No.
Well, man, I'll tell you what. Spending the morning in a duck blind, especially when you...
For that day, the only blinds I'd ever knew were the blinds on my mama's windows.
Well, there's all kinds of blinds for every situation. You got your permanent blinds, you got your portable blinds, you got your temporary blinds, you got layout blinds, you got...
What's a layout blind?
Well, a layout blind is kind of like a little bed that you lay down in and you get covered up in, and it's really, really low to the ground. And you wait for the birds to get super close, then you sit up and blast them. It's awesome.
That sounds like a surprise party.
Yeah, it sort of is. Well, anyway, you got your pit blinds, you got your skid blinds. You can get a metal shipping container and make a blind out of that. You can get 4 pieces of rebar and get some camouflage material and wrap it around that, and you can sit in there and that can be a blind. Now, my favorite type of blinds to hunt out of are great big permanent blinds made out of wood. Then there's your curtain blinds, bunker blinds, boat blinds. Then there's a pontoon blind. Now that's a type of boat blind. It's actually a blind built on the floor of a pontoon boat. Let's see. Then there's your low profile sled blind, a high-low blind. I really like those. Hay bale blinds, A-frames, panel blinds. That's about it. Man, there are so many duck blind options. Where do you start? Well, first of all, you don't have to duck hunt out of a blind, but in many situations, they are needed, or certainly make it a better experience. I will say this, there is no perfect duck blind. There isn't. They all have their place. They each have their own pluses and minuses. Some blinds are very unique and specific and really only work well in certain situations. Others may have a lot more broader use. Along with making videos for Surviving Duck Season, I also operate a duck hunting lodge in Arkansas. It's a full-time job. In 2022, we bought a large piece of ground in Arkansas, and one of the first things to do was to get some duck blinds. Since then, we've built some, we've bought some, and we're still in the process of adding more blinds. But not too long ago, I was thinking, you know, all the things we go through in deciding what blinds to use, this would make some really great content for surviving duck season and hopefully give you some ideas on duck blinds for yourself. In the southern half of the Mississippi Flyway, where I hunt, typically we hunt in larger groups, at least of 3 or 4 guys and sometimes a whole lot more. So with that in mind, most of my blinds will hunt between 5 and 8 guys. Our property is heavily influenced by the White River, which we have about 2 miles of it touching our property. So that brings an entire different dynamic to the way that we hunt. One of the best ways to combat that is to have some type of a floating duck blind. No matter what the water does on the property, we've got a blind that's accessible. Pontoon blinds are a great type of blind that are floating blinds. We've bought a few old pontoon boats and taken everything off of them and then built a blind right on the deck of the boat. They work great. We have some places where we actually drag the blind up onto dry ground and then we'll stake it down or tie it off to a tree or something like that. So if the water does come up, it doesn't go anywhere. If it doesn't, it's sitting on solid ground. That's a great way to use it. But you can also use pontoon blinds just like you would a regular pontoon boat by putting a motor on the back and then maneuvering the boat around that way. I wanted to take a second to thank you for watching the videos and for supporting our channel. Many of you have asked about Surviving Duck Season merch. We got some new stuff on the website, survivingduckseason.com. Also, there's a link down in the description part of this video so you can check that out. And if you're ever looking for anything that we're talking about on the videos, I always have links in the description part of the video to let you know how you can find out more information and how you can buy those products. The next type of blind I'm going to share with you is another type of floating blind. It's the brand name Blind Spot Blind. Now, I met Joe Harris about a year ago. He is the creative genius behind Blind Spots. I was really intrigued when he asked me the question, wouldn't it be cool if you could move your blind in the middle of a duck hunt and only take a few minutes? I'm like, yeah. And so after several really long discussions, I decided to buy a couple blinds and try them out because if these things work like he says they will, it could be a game changer for us. So the day came for the blinds to arrive. Joe calls me and says, hey man, I'm about 20 minutes out. Why don't you meet me out on the property? Well man, it was like Christmas Day. It was so exciting.
We're getting ready to unload a 17 by 6, what we call our standard high-low blind, G-style. Gonna get it set out here and I can get it grassed up and hunt out of it here in a couple weeks out of a more soil unit. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how good it works out for them to be able to move this blind around whenever they need to. So
when we got out there, unloaded the blinds, and then the work began in getting them brushed in. It has these cattle panels all the way around it so that you can then attach whatever type of blind brushing material that you would use. I use a combination of grass, coffee beans, and that sort of thing. We got a brushed in blind, spot blind right here. Looks awesome. Got it hooked up to the back of the Ranger and we're getting ready to pull it into position. It's very much a specialized type of blind. Now it can be used in tons and tons of places, but it will really shine in an area that you have a need to change your positions a lot. You don't want a permanent blind. And so this has got floats, as you can see up underneath it. These are dock floats, and it enables the blind to float, but it's not technically a floating blind. I mean, I guess it is, it floats, but what happens is when you get inside of it, it will sink. And so really the floating part of it is just for being able to transport it. It's set up specifically so it only holds enough weight that you can maybe put, you know, your decoys and a few things inside of it so you can push it around, but then as soon as somebody gets inside of it, it'll go to the bottom. We've got these posts here that act as feet so you can level it up once you get, and it'll float to the height until you set those down, and then you step onto it, and it's nice and sturdy. Just push it over into position like Chris is doing. Lower the feet down like that. Kind of lift lift up a little bit. There you go. Get it level.
Oh, man.
No. Guys, hands. There you go. You saved the day. All right. Good. So this is the inside of the blind. It's kind of dirty. It's after duck season, and so there's a lot of debris. A lot of the brush is already kind of decomposed and falling off, but you can hunt comfortably 7 guys here. There's plenty of room to throw your blind bag or some other gear, or if you needed to put some extra decoys up underneath the front or up underneath the bench. You're completely out of the water. This thing floats, remember, and so you're never having to worry about water being in the bottom of the blind. It's certainly very comfortable. I hunted out of mine several times in the rain, when it's blowing really hard, even a little bit of sleet, that sort of thing. So it's really comfortable in that respect. Each spot has got a flip that of course the brushes all come off of it because it's the summertime now, but they all have flip down so every individual person can flip and stand up to shoot. But I'll tell you, one of the things that I'm the most excited about as far as a feature of the blind itself is the dog stand. So many times I have bought a blind that was ready to go, and the dog stand part was a real problem. It feels to me like a lot of these guys building blinds don't hunt with a dog, or if they do, they don't really use a dog the same way I do. I handle my dog a lot, and so it's super important for me to have a dog on the end of the blind that can get in and out easy, and for me to be able to get in and out easy and to be able to handle the dog. So if you look right here, dog's going to sit right here. This flips closed, as you can see. So you cover the dog up. When they need to go get the bird, they can go down the ladder, come right back in. And if you need to handle the dog, then here's what you do. Push this open, stand up. You got lots of room. The dog can see your hands, so you can do the handling that you need to. If you need to get out of the blind really quickly, the step is right behind you, so you're not losing time and momentum to crawl under things or to walk out the back of the blind and then you can't see what's going on and potentially lose a bird. This was really well thought out, and I'm real excited about it. We hunted out of it quite a number of days this past duck season. Both me and a couple of my other guides, they were very happy with it, especially the dog hunting part of it. For more information about blind spot blinds, check out the link in the description part of this video. When we're talking about floating blinds, we can't forget about a boat blind. Now, quite a few years ago, I met Jeff Mullinex. He is the owner of Pop-Up Blind, which is the premier boat blind company in the country. Pop-Up Blind is made in the USA by Jeff Mullinex and his family. I've gotten to know Jeff and his family over the last several years. Great folks, dependable, high quality materials. When you place an order for a pop-up blind, it's built exactly for your boat. It's a custom boat blind. You give him the dimensions, all the measurements he's going to ask you to get all that stuff for him, and then they build it so it fits perfectly. Not only does Pop-Up Blind build the industry-leading boat blind, but they also build an incredible field blind like this one I'm sitting in right here. Basically what this blind is their adaptation of their boat blind made into a field blind. They just raise it up, add a little bit of extra height to it, and then put a place in here where we can put a bench, as you can see right here. So it's very comfortable. It's fairly light enough. I mean, you could move it with 2 guys. It's kind of heavy once you get the wood in it. But if you got 4 guys, it's a piece of cake to move it. You can trailer it right up. I've got 3 of their field blinds and really like them a lot. Let me show you a little bit more about them right now. So the way things work, very much like their boat blind, is you take and lift this up. And you can see that it's got these little straps that are sewn in where you can attach brush to it. You can, just stab grass or that sort of thing, or you can take and use zip ties or whatever you want to use. The front rail is right here, so you can rest your gun on this if you want to while you're waiting for the ducks to come in. Here's the top, the way the top comes over the top of the blind, just like that. You got lots of room. You can get tucked back all the way up underneath. You're dry in the rain if you're hunting in the rain. It's actually quite warm to put a couple of heaters in the bottom of the blind, that sort of thing. Once you get ready to shoot, all you got to do is flip this lever, Easy to come right up out of the blind and shoot. You can't really climb over this. I mean, you kind of can here, but the way that I get out of it is just you'd have your buddy on the other end. Just flip this little deal. You can get out. Even for a short dude like me, it's not too hard. I really do love the pop-up blinds. They're fantastic. The way that I'm using them is I'm using them as a portable blind. We can load them on a trailer and move them to another part of the farm, or even to a different farm where we may be goose hunting. And that's really the way that they shine. My plans are to get a few more of them. That way we can have some designated for duck hunting blinds for groups of 5. And then some of them we can use for goose hunts in dry fields, where we can even put 2 side by side, where we can hunt, like 8 guys like we sometimes do with layouts. They're certainly more comfortable than layouts, and for older guys and guys that have trouble getting around so much, that's really the ticket. To find out more about pop-up blinds, whether it's their boat blinds or their field blinds, make sure you check out their website. I'll leave a link in the description part of this video. Metal skid blinds are super popular in my part of the world. They're obviously a metal blind. They've got skids, so you can drag them behind your four-wheeler, drag them behind a UTV, a tractor, even behind your pickup truck. We have several of them on our property. Permanent blinds are my favorite types of blinds to hunt out of, but you can't always use them, especially where we hunt. Sometimes the water is too deep, so you either got to put them up on stilts, or you just have to put them in areas that don't get a lot of flooding, which is the way we do it. I want to show you a couple examples of some permanent blinds that we use. This blind originally was a large skid blind, but we decided to add on to it a little bit, making it more of a permanent blind once we added the stuff on. We extended the floor and then wrapped these cypress slabs on the sides that added stability and really make great camo. Another great example of a permanent blind is this grass blind. We actually have 2 blinds like this. The spots where we're hunting in them, it's completely wide open. There's no trees, there's just a few little shrubs. So how do you hide in the wide open? Well, I'm going to show you. Check this out, because you're going to want to do this. So we added some cattle panel extensions on the front and ends of the blind. So we took the cattle panels and then we brushed them in first. Then we take one end of it and jab it down into the ground, and then bend the panels over to make a curve, and then wire it to the blind. Yeah, I know. They're incredible. So this is the completed blind. After we got the oak limbs, after we got all the grassing done, it looks like a big old brush pile. And the blind has a giant flip all the way across the front. So when it's time to shoot, push it open and guns come out a-blazing. Want to see more about duck blinds? Well, check out this video right here. Thanks for watching. I'm Joel Strickland. God bless you, and I'll see you on the next video.